Hi everyone, it's Debbie Mirza, the author of The Covert Passive Aggressive Narcissist. And today I want to talk to you about complex PTSD and tell you 15 signs or symptoms to see if you are experiencing these and if you are experiencing complex PTSD and what that even is. Most likely, if you have been in a long-term relationship with a covert narcissist, you probably have complex PTSD. So, most of us know about PTSD and we associate it with people that go to war, veterans that come back, which is that's what PTSD is associated with. It's also associated with, let's say you were in a car accident or you were mugged, something like that. That's an isolated experience. So, complex PTSD is when you've experienced trauma continuously over a long period of time. And that can have similar symptoms to PTSD, but it can also have much different ones. And with complex PTSD, it greatly affects when you have continuous trauma in your life as a child or in a long-term, marriage or partnership, or even if you have, a boss or a coworker or a sibling, someone where this has been ongoing, even if you didn't see it. Complex PTSD literally changes your brain and radically changes how you see yourself and how you see the world. So it's a big deal. I do want to preface a couple things. First, this is not meant to discourage you. It's actually this video. It's actually I'm wanting to talk about this to encourage you and also validate your experience because some of these things a lot of us will think, what's wrong with me, or I just have a problem with this, and it's really all related to what we've been through. So it's really helpful, and I'm going to do two different videos. This one explaining complex PTSD and talking about the symptoms, and then I'm going to do another one with giving you ideas what you can do to help with the complex PTSD so you're not living with this for, a long time. So this one obviously is the explanation. Also, a disclaimer. I'm not a licensed professional therapist. I didn't go to school for this. This has been my own experience and my, just lots of research, especially lately. I've really been looking into it because I have a lot of clients, actually a lot of them dealing with these symptoms and didn't realize it was complex PTSD. So just a disclaimer to make sure you consult your, mental health professional. Okay. So I've explained what it is. Here are the symptoms. And I'm going to grab some water. All right. Number one, I'm reading down in my notes. A detachment from others. And you can kind of take notes if you want and kind of check off to see if you're experiencing this. And if you are, it's directly related to the trauma you've experienced. So detachment to others, isolation, withdrawal, fearful of others, having a hard time trusting other people, which obviously is so natural. So a lot of us, while we're in these or once we get out of these relationships, we find ourselves just wanting to withdraw from life and other people. We find ourselves not wanting to leave our home, isolating ourselves. Just feeling a lot of fear and cautiousness when we meet other people. And our walls, really go up. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. This is just a normal reaction to everything you've been through. And I do believe, there's different stages to healing. And I think one of the first stages is isolation, and I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing. Definitely if you feel like you're going to harm yourself, reach out and tell somebody that. But if you're feeling like I just need some time to myself, I need quiet, then by all means listen to your body. It needs it. Um, Number two, flashbacks. So if you find yourself, when your eyes are closed or throughout the day, just kind of reliving past experiences and painful conversations you had with that person, anything painful associated with that person, you have flashbacks. Number three, nightmares. A lot of people will experience this, not everybody, but that's another symptom. If you find Number four, if you find yourself avoiding reminders, so if you live in a city or in a neighborhood that's close to where traumatic events happened, or where your workplace was, or by your family, or if there was a certain restaurant you used to go to, or a church or a synagogue, or something that's related to that person, the narcissist, you find yourself avoiding them because you can just feel the trauma come back if you drive by or you go into certain buildings. Okay, number five, insomnia is really common. If you're having a hard time getting to sleep or staying asleep throughout the night, that's a lot of anxiety that's going on in your body. Number seven, you feel jumpy, more than normal. If someone turns the corner, you find yourself just jumping really fast, or just being surprised often. It's like your nervous system is jacked, and so anytime something unexpected happens, your body just flinches because it's almost like it's used to this like trauma, and especially with the intermittent reinforcement where you have niceties and kind words and then horrible words, you're kind of used to being on edge. So that's another one. Number eight is alcohol, drug use, overeating, self-medicating. I find this with a lot of people I talk to, that before this relationship, they weren't big on alcohol or drugs, or their weight was fine. Since the relationship, they've had all these issues, and they just think, oh, I'm just not disciplined, or something's wrong with me, or this is embarrassing, when in fact it's all part of complex PTSD. So be kind to yourself. If you're dealing with that, there's a reason. Number 10, hypervigilance. That's when it's like we learn to perceive the world as filled with malice and men and women who can't be trusted. So we're constantly observing other people and, elements in nature, and searching for signs of danger, which is totally normal, right? If you've been through, especially a covert narcissist, where they were the nicest person and the whole love bombing thing and everybody likes them, and they were the most cruel to you of anyone in your life. So it's a natural thing with the complex PTSD that you're going to be ultra vigilant about who you meet. Number 11, toxic guilt and shame. So too often complex PTSD sufferers feel as if they actually deserve to be abused, and feel a lot of shame over not seeing clues. Why didn't I leave sooner? What's wrong with me? Why didn't I see through this person? Why did I keep taking it? So that is also a symptom of complex PTSD. Number 12, involvement in unhealthy relationships often happens. I think mainly because you get used to being treated a certain way, and you now adopt these beliefs that you don't deserve any better. And you also become very vulnerable because you're hurting, and then someone else is nice to you and they're listening to you and they're giving you attention, you long for, and then they end up, being covertly narcissistic or have borderline personality disorder or, something else that ends up draining your energy. So that's very common. 13, depression, very common. Sometimes it's, more of a serious depression. Sometimes it's just an underlying sadness and low energy and just not motivated to do anything in life, just really no interest or drive anymore. Number 14, poor self-esteem, lack of self-confidence. Most, I would say everyone I've talked to, not most, everybody that has been in a relationship with a covert narcissist has massive self-doubt and low self-esteem and don't think they're worthy of much. Sometimes just even the minimal, just being happy feels like I don't deserve that. So that is a result of complex PTSD or a symptom of it. The final one, and you can do your own research because I'm sure there are more, but this gives you a good idea at least, looking at yourself like, oh, okay, I clearly have this. Number 15 is disassociation. So this can even get as far into dissociative identity disorder, which used to be called multiple personalities. It's like we compartmentalize ourselves. We kind of break off from our whole self. Oftentimes when people disassociate, they can kind of live in a world of fantasy and not reality, which makes sense because when you're experiencing trauma, who wants to stay in that body and feel that? So it's kind of, I think it's this protective mechanism our body has to leave, and fragment into different pieces, different personalities. So if you're experiencing that is due to complex PTSD. So to give you hope, there are definitely things that you can do for it, and I will cover that on the next video. And I'm going to try and post these at the same time so I don't just leave you hanging. And also let this be validation. If you're having an alcohol problem you never did before, just go, okay, this isn't you just not being disciplined. This is your body reacting to years and years and often decades of trauma. Whether that was throughout your childhood or throughout, a partnership or a marriage, like I said before, or both. For many of us, it's been our whole life of experiencing people like this. So there are definitely things you can do, and I will talk about that in the next video. So know that there's hope. You're not stuck. This is not a sentence. Let this help you exhale and go, okay, there's a reason I feel all this. Okay, so sending you lots of love, and I will post this along with here's ideas of what to do. Okay, talk soon.